Welcome to BBC Podcast. Tapping in with Tunchi again. Today we got another King's Table episode with some real big names. We're going to go ahead and run the intro, hand it over to JP.
Job, nigga. Motivation. Haters better get on your job. Tell them haters get on your job, nigga. This motivation. Suck a nigga, get on your job.
Yeah, everybody make sure you like, comment, subscribe, check out the merch, share the video. Let's introduce our special guest for today. Introduce yourself.
Yo, it's your boy Glenn Lawrence. You know me. Been here once before with Mr. Offie Kingdom, and I'm back.
Shout out to Offie.
And I got with me the Prez, okay, Mr. Thor, the Thunder God amongst men.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for inviting me. I'm RP Thor, and glad to be here. Good to talk with you guys.
Well, for sure.
Glad you're here.
So today, man, we're going to share a couple things. I mean, you got a lot of experience, like, deep in the RP world. Like, we know you already what you're doing on your podcast over there. So,
Causing problems.
Corrections now. Aren't you our corrections officer?
Yep. Just calling out names.
just some topics, but we'll just go over. Like, men, you already know what the strain is, what the same messages everybody's using on YouTube. Like, everybody's just struggling, trying to find themselves and just making sure they're picking the right connection and networking with the right people to get where they need to go.
Sure.
With your history and everything, like, where would you say an 18 to 25-year-old needs to start?
Find a mentor that's masculine is where you need to go. That's why Andrew Tate was so popular. He had a lot of masculinity, a lot of masculine traits. And that's very useful and it's needed today, especially with someone that young.
Yeah. What if like you got the man that's like doesn't have that man or brother in the background? Like, where should he find it?
He can definitely find it if he's looking for it. You know, a long time. I'm over 60, so when I was young, they used to have something called the Big Brother program.
Yeah,
that is non-existent anymore.
I know that is true. They don't do that shit no more.
You know, you could actually have somebody that out of the kindness of their heart would mentor a young man.
Well, they ruined it.
It sounds creepy nowadays, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they ruined it with
Nowadays,
the Big Brothers, and then they added the Big Sisters.
Did they have that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later on.
Just like they ruined the Boy Scouts when they added the girls coming into the Boy Scouts.
True. I guess they probably needed that to sell the cookies.
When I heard Big Sister, I was thinking,
Yeah,
dimension-wise.
Yeah. Well, they ended up looking like that.
But, but
Trying to
imagine
get them
that.
badges.
Imagine that, because one of the big issues, and I'm going to write in detail about this in my upcoming book that'll be released this summer,
Okay.
is that, there is an issue with boys being raised by single mothers. Bless their hearts for raising these young boys.
But they can't teach them to be a man.
They can't.
Yeah.
And it's not in their nature to do so. And it leaves them very poorly equipped to deal with other men and to actually deal with women that they might want to pair up with.
Yeah.
And that's really unfortunate. So you're going to have to reach out. One of the best ways to reach out is to reach out and look at the internet. And the problem with the internet, though, and with YouTube, if you can find somebody in your own personal circle of friends that is a masculine man, that's enough, really. It really is.
Okay.
Because that's personal. It's in your face. Maybe it's a coach. Maybe it's a teacher. Good luck finding a teacher these days that's a man and that's masculine, right?
True.
But, it might be a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor. Whatever it might be, kickboxing, right? That's really preferred because you're going to have a hard time not being seduced by everyone selling something.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I don't have an issue with anybody selling something, particularly mentorship or something of value. They should sell it. They absolutely should. But what value are they going to get from it is what you got to ask. And there are folks out there, they're just compiling and regurgitating. I understand that. They got to make a living too, but it might not be the quality that you need. So, I was asked once before, Thor, why should we listen to you? Well, you fucking shouldn't. Right? You need to, especially if I'm a guy on the internet. Now, I can offer you some wisdom, but I cannot offer you everything that you would need. But you'd want to vet my experience with my results. And if they match up, then I have something of value to offer you.
Yeah.
So I would suggest young men look there. I actually have a very close friend that's actually offering a course right now, and I will plug it because it's such a value. And
You guys know him
helped
too.
a little bit, and that was Aaron Clary. Aaron Clary has a 12-hour course for $150, $150.
Yeah. Okay.
12 hours of video, and he's an economist, so he's into the analytics. So it is precise, it's organized.
All the numbers match up.
Oh, he hits it all from sex with women, where are you going to learn, how are you going to learn, to being frugal, minimalistic living, education. He really runs the gamut, and the name of the course is The Dad You Never Had, and it's focused right at these folks. And what it does is it just opens the door to get them thinking about what they should approach in life and what they should start to absorb and apply, because young men have a task. You guys all know we used to have rites of passage, and it was the stress and it was the trials that young men had to go through that would temper their character. And when they got that, they could come out as a young man, say 20 years old, and be an effective leader of a family at that time.
Yeah.
And I don't see that
you
actually
far from
happen
that now.
today.
Far
So that
from
tempering
They don't even exist no more.
No.
takes more time now because it's not accessible to most men. Unless, you have that strong, dominant, masculine presence.
And then
in your
if it
life.
does exist in this time, you're a misogynist and you're all this other.
Hey, but you know
shit.
what? They may say that, like, oh, you're a misogynist, but they fuck all the misogynists.
Yeah.
They like the misogynists.
Yeah.
Like, they want to get dicked down by the misogynists. They
They
don't
just
want to
don't
get
wanna
they don't want to
admit
get dicked down by the male feminist.
No.
No, why would they want another lesbian?
They'll settle for that when they can't marry the.
Exactly.
So what would you guys say? Who's nowadays is 2023? Who's more happier in a relationship, the man or the woman nowadays?
In a good relationship,
In a good relationship.
I'd say that if it's a good relationship, I think they're both equally, if it's a good relationship, they're balanced, and it's good. It's good for both of them. Because if she's playing her role as being the wife and deferring the authority to him, and he has that frame, and he's taking the lead, he's steering that ship, and it's going down the right course, they're both happy, But in reality, most relationships, nah, the lady's happy. It's because she's not even really in a relationship. Like, how many girls that are in a relationship that also have like their Instagrams, and they're putting some thought ass photos on Instagram?
Yeah, we already know.
95%.
So are they really in a relationship? Because they're still soliciting.
Yeah.
True. Still advertising.
Yeah.
So let me challenge you. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge all of you listening here. I don't really think happiness matters.
Well, that's
Not
true.
a relationship.
So what are your foundations laid out?
Well, pretty simply, happiness comes from only a couple spots, and it comes individually to you. Number one, you can be happy, and let's just take it out of the context of a relationship right now and to the individual. This is a man and a woman. Happiness comes to you in only two ways. One is you have something that comes into you, and this is external validation. It's like a little battery you're going to plug in. I'm happy now. I got this emotion for a little while.
Something you receive.
Lasts a few hours. I maybe get a good feeling from it. I'm receiving it. This is external validation. This is why you go on the phone and you're hitting all the IG gals. You're getting a little external validation come in. Imagine there's a battery that comes in. The other way that you get happiness is you self-validate. By self-validating, accomplishing something, thinking of something, creating a mood for yourself through the use of feelings and emotions or accomplishments and reading, that is creating happiness from within you. That's self-validation. That's like a generator instead of a battery. The generator takes some maintenance. It takes a little longer to warm up. But once it's running, you have voltage forever. If you're waiting on that external validation, you use up the battery, you throw it away. You got to find another one to keep power, right? Now, keep that in mind, and you bring it into a relationship. Both parties should be responsible for their own happiness. They need to be able to self-validate. Once that happens, you can add external validation one to the other. What does that create inside of a family? You have a dominant masculine presence as a man, and you have
when it's balanced.
you have a submissive feminine innocence of the woman, and now you've got this polarity, and what you end up with is something that's more important than happiness. It's fulfillment, and fulfillment lasts. It carries on. Fulfillment's a mood. It lasts days and months. So that's my take on the happiness. Who's
Yeah, I like that.
happier? So that's how I like to look at it, and that's how I work with my consultations. Because if I can remove it to somebody's making me happy, I'm looking externally.
Yeah.
And I need to look internally first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that solves a lot of problems, believe it or not. But it's like that generator. It's going to take some maintenance. And once you get there, though, it's well worth it.
Okay. So
Different take.
what would you guys say about the whole, to piggyback off that, like the whole term, the happy wife, happy life stuff?
Oh, I got
I
the answer to
already
that.
told you that. That's bullshit. That's suicide. Hey, if you're a dude and you're doing the happy wife, happy life thing, get ready for a divorce.
So I got the answer to this one, guys.
Okay.
Sometimes it's nice to be over 60 years old because you remember where it came from. This is in the 70s. That's where it came from, at the end of the 70s. Prior to that, yeah, I'm a former Christian. I'll have you know I'm no longer a Christian, but I was raised a Christian, so I know this. Happy
I'm
wife,
praying for him.
the pagan, the Christian, right?
I just did a episode with Rollo on religion, so
So it was the happy wife, happy life came out, and then it just grew a life of its own. It was a joke. But it came from what was being taught in the churches at the time, which was select a good wife, have a great life. That's a big difference.
Yeah. That's
well,
big,
yeah, because it comes from the scriptures, right?
But-
a man that finds a good wife finds a good thing.
It does. That's where it came from.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really fit the gynocentric social order and where we're headed with, women first. And who pays the majority of the tithes today in the church?
Women.
Yes. And
Who's
it was
got the
headed that
church
way.
more than anybody? Women.
Yes. And it was headed that way even back then. I mean, this had come after the sexual revolution. Everybody was pushing towards femme-centricity. And it was funny to say, happy wife, happy life. If mama not happy, God not happy. And yeah, that might sound
keep
funny,
everybody in order, to police everything.
but do you realize that it actually sets you up for a whole lot of drama and trauma?
Oh yeah.
Because it defers
Because
the
you turned
authority.
it up on its ass.
And what you end up doing is you flip roles, right? So, like from a biblical standpoint, right? The husband's supposed to be the head of the household. I mean, he's all the leadership and all the authority goes to him.
Yeah.
But if you are the husband and you are trying to please these people who you are supposed to lead, then you are deferring the authority to their pleasure. Like, okay, I'm only considered a good husband as long as they're happy.
Yeah.
You can't keep them happy forever.
I know.
Yeah, that does make sense.
No.
So happy wife, happy life leads to divorce.
Just remember, select a good wife and you'll have a great life.
So
Makes more sense.
How could you share your personal experience on selecting, making sure you have
Here
the
we
whole
go.
thing? How's
Here
it?
we go. How
do
long
you
you guys
last?
got?
I try not to inject my personal experience as much as possible because when you speak to anybody in the sphere, particularly females, they can't really respond to you in any logical fashion without filtering it through their own personal experiences. That's why you get some of the responses that you have. Well, as a woman,
Yeah.
and then here it is, you get this very fine filtered.
Get this solipsistic answer.
Exactly. I will say this. I have a very, very good marriage that's very seamless as far as effort. And I've been married for 30 years. And I was married once before, too. I was married for 4 prior to that. But, and a slew of girlfriends in between. But it's been good. And it's good because she was happy to take my name. I had a marriage that I wrote the marriage vows to, and she agreed to them. So I had that deference right up front. And our goal was to raise a family. And but here's the thing. Before we even started down that path, the goal was to make our relationship as good as possible because those children would not always be there as a crutch or to hide behind in a relationship. Too many people do that. And women have a tendency to place their children ahead of everything else. And then when the children grow up, they look across the table at that man and say,
I want another one.
who the hell are you?
Yeah.
I don't even know you. And I'm out of here. Bad news. That means she's placed those children far above him and would see him die rather than do anything else. Well, I'll
That's
tell
why you
you,
get a lot of the
I'm
people
going to
that
tell you
just
the
stick
hard
around
truth.
through the marriage so they don't
You
get
want-
the divorce and
you want-
come up statistic.
You want a good marriage and you want to be able to cast a legacy into the future, it's you and her. And the children, at least in our past, would likely die. But guess what? You would make more. Sounds heartless, doesn't it? But it was you and her against the world right to the end. And that's where the intent of, lifetime monogamy came out. I personally don't believe that that's how we're built, but it does have a success rate that's pretty good for civilization. It keeps the incel population down. If you
Except
have
now.
except now. Well, it's on its head right now.
Yeah.
Is it man's natural state? No, I don't believe it is. But it's one of our ways to cope with it and create a civilization that does benefit most of its citizens. But yeah, as far as my story, it's been really good. As many of you may know out there, I'm going to tip my hat again to Aaron Clary, who supported me a tremendous amount. My wife was in a car accident 2 years ago, and her neck was broken, and she became paralyzed from basically the shoulders down. And what that means is it's not that she doesn't feel anything. It's she has no motor control, but she feels every ounce of the pain times 10 because of that injury to her spinal cord, which requires, a lot of care.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to do it.
And Missy's awesome.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
She's one of my faves.
She's my biggest fan. And she agreed to those vows back then, and she'd do it again. And some of those things would seem horrible today. Like, I'm going to stay in shape for you. I'm not going to get fat. I'm going to make you first. First in the relationship, and what I'm going to do is for the benefit of us, even if it's going to hurt your feelings, and sometimes you have to make decisions like that as a man in a relationship, and she's got to suck it up and support it, which is a funny thing. She has a story that she would tell you guys. She asked her aunt, who is married for over 65 years now.
Jeez.
How did you do it so long? Because her uncle's kind of grouchy. He goes, well, dear, this was her answer. This is her aunt's answer to my wife. He says, dear, sometimes you just got to learn to suck it up. Damn good advice for someone who's married over 65, still married to this day.
You know what? I was thinking I was going to do an episode, like telling women, you know what? You want to know how to solve problems in your marriage? Just suck some dick.
Well, I don't think she meant that, but I'm certain that's a part of it.
Think about it. If you're mad at her, right? Let's say she went over on the credit card, right? She bought some shoes, right? And if all of a sudden you look at that credit card and you're like, God damn it, and she starts sucking you off, you forgot. I'll pay. Don't worry, we'll pay it off. Just don't buy this shit next time.
Don't do it again.
Just get on the knees, girls. Just get on the knees. It's all good from there.
Right.
It's a funny thing though. In our space, a lot of guys want to be the player with multiple gals and all that. And I think that's great. I really do. I think that's probably a place to strive for. Very few of us can do it. But in the long run, it'd be nice to have that good girl home and support you.
Well, yeah, for sure.
And she's passing and helping you cast that legacy into the future, right?
Yeah.
So how do you actually get there? I did a short video a few years ago before any of this stuff blew up, and I talked about you can screen for the girls up front when you're dating, but what do you do after a year or 18 months when the honeymoon phase is over? This is when you really have to look at it.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're going to, see their warts and smell their farts.
Yeah.
And can you take it? Excuse me.
Depends if they don't eat beans or not.
Exactly. But you have to have more value than you have liabilities. And some of those things seem like common sense, but people do not pick up on it because they weren't trained that anymore.
Unfortunately, common sense ain't too common anymore.
You can ask a couple simple questions, JP. Do you argue more than 3% of the time? And if you do, you've got a liability. That's a big problem.
It's a lot of relationships now. Yeah.
That's not good. That's not right. Now, I will say this. We are trained to communicate in a debate style today. That's not good. And it is trained in a shaming language that's being used, which is bad, both men and women. It's really not good.
Are you talking about the sign language?
Yeah, it's sign language. Well, you guys have heard of that before, right?
I think so.
Kevin Samuels came out with
that. Shaming, insult.
Yeah.
Guilt, and need to be right. But that would be a problem. Another value you might not think of is when she's with her friends, is she the influencer or is she the influence?
That's true.
This will bite you in the hiney so bad.
Yes, I agree.
Women are such social creatures. If she's the influence, let her hang around some single girls being married with some kids about 5 years old ready to go to school. And they're having fun. And she is feeding those kids and dropping them off at school. Look for the fire that's going to be built there if she's the influence. Right? So those are just some of the simple ones. I got 25 of them I put out there. But then there's the, the added liabilities. Is she the kind of gal that requires you to be the sentimental one? That's liability,
Basically,
brother.
Okay.
he's saying, is she the one
wants
with
you
the
to tap
dick?
in on that.
Is
on
she
that
the one with the
inner
dick?
side?
So would that go to the guys we deal with every day? Like, hold on, let me call my wife and
Oh,
wife and
let
ask.
me.
to
I
find
gotta
out.
ask. I asked the little lady
Yeah.
for permission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get that
Yeah.
all the time. Like, oh, you need this else for your car, blah blah blah. Oh well, hold on, let me call the wife and let me ask her.
see if I can get my balls back.
That's
and make a
bad news
decision.
for a relationship in the long run. I'm sorry, but it is.
Like 90% of our customers do that.
Yeah.
yeah,
that's
exactly. And there's more. I mean, there's way more than that. Does she make her family more important than the family you're creating with her? Who goes where on the holidays, and why is it important? Yeah, you're going to marry her family too, but where does she place that?
Yeah.
What,
Very true.
Glenn? Here's the Christianity. What does the Bible say about cleaving?
Look, you leave.
Cleave unto each other or something? One flesh? All right.
The man and woman leave their father and mother and cling to their wife
There you
and
go.
husband.
So-
And the two become one flesh. So everybody else, they ain't shit.
Anyways, us Vikings have something like that, but
No, you
We're
guys
looking-
like cling to everybody's wives, and then you guys have like one big party.
no, we just have more than one. That's all right, more than one wife. But
Then
hey,
you go conquer another tribe and then take their wives and then bring them into the family.
well, you find something good.
Got to go home with it.
Yep,
So, we turned a lot of folks into savages.
that's true.
But yeah, there's more of them out there too, just like that. I mean, you have to ask a question like this too. This is the root of a lot of problems in relationships. What about the money? Is she going to be okay having one joint account and you two keeping separate accounts?
Nowadays, no.
No, this is an important deal because here's the thing. She's a grown adult. Whether she's working or not, she needs to know how to handle money, but she should not handle all of your money. You are the leader. You should handle the vast majority, if not 80, 90%. Straight up, and you should have that, and you should take care of it. You let her do it all. You just gave your authority as a masculine man over to her.
I look at it like that. Like, what's the purpose of you being in the house if she can do everything?
How many guys turn it right over to her?
A lot of
All
guys
of them.
do. A lot of guys
This
just
is damn near all of them.
Yeah, they're like, we got a joint account. Here's all my money, and then she's
Paycheck, here you go.
Yeah, like
And they get an allowance for the week or a
yeah,
month.
and they determine their allowance.
Yeah.
Like we got all access to this money, so I'm gonna,
You shouldn't need more than this for this.
yeah,
week
like you
or
know what?
whatever.
You just need gas and lunch. Here you go. Like,
Yeah.
Most guys that get married really quickly don't even know how to pass a fitness test or a comfort test anymore. And that's unfortunate as well, because really that's what keeps attraction alive, because they're going to test you forever.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. So
That's
you
biblical.
definitely got to count, if you guys are interested in more liabilities that you can look up on my YouTube channel. It's a 20-minute video on it. It's pretty simple stuff, but most people don't ask those questions. Those are the questions that you really have to ask after the red flags. We all know the red flags, right?
Yeah.
Full body tattoos and sleeve, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
304 passed, all that sort of thing, But when you get past that, there's actually things that count and things that stand against you that are embedded into a woman's behavior. Now, here's the beauty of it. If she's really into you and she's your ride or die chick and you've done your conditioning properly in that courtship phase, she's going to be with you. She'll change her religion for you. She'll change her country for you. And so she will drop those liabilities. And you know what she gets out of it?
the world.
She gets fulfillment.
Yeah, fulfillment.
So, and I will give this to the female listeners, which I think you guys have 3. What is it? Janelle's one of them? No, I'm just teasing you guys.
I think it might be 4.
4 is that the more a woman does for a man, the more a woman gets for a man.
Yeah.
Facts.
Okay,
That's
like-
kind of in a nutshell about the long-term relationship.
Like that.
And that's where the real game is at. You know
Now let's
what I'm
talk about the 304s.
saying? All right. Down them hoes.
We love them, don't we, Glenn?
We love the hoes.
Oh yeah.
And there's nobody doesn't like hoes. Everybody loves hoes.
Yeah.
I got an open spot right now in the back of my Harley.
You just don't want to marry him.
Exactly. Well, you want to marry them, but you want them to be your hoe.
Yeah.
You want to make them the hoe.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hoe
you don't
for
want
you.
them to already be a hoe
Yeah.
and then bring them in. You want to turn the church girl to a straight rough rider. You know?
Oh, Madonna whore complex. Here we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It is true.
Well, what do you guys think, man?
I say, yeah. I mean, I'm with him. Everybody wants that experience. Everybody wants that girl that's on the wild side, but not. You don't
For
want to
the
know
world.
that she's previously done it before. You only just for
Yeah.
you, just for you. I get it.
You know,
I got it.
Your personal porn star.
Exactly.
that's important though with a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
Sex is the glue that holds that relationship together. If it even starts to crack and wane, and you start to get a dead bedroom, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you have a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, she might not feel good 1 or 2 days. After that, it's done. I can tell you right now, 30 years of marriage, and there's only a couple reasons there wouldn't be sex.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be that time of the month.
Yeah.
That's not an issue. And it's because she's my number one fan, and she's just as into me as I'm into her.
Yeah. I think if you
And
don't
that's
have
a
that
big
desire,
deal. That
yeah,
covers
sure.
that covers a lot
Yeah, I
of
agree.
small issues. So if you're having that, get with one of these mentors that has some experience in dread. I hate to use that term, but that's what it is. Especially on the passive side, and figure that out, because that'll solve your problem most of the time.
And for those like with religious convictions,
Yeah.
I will say this one more time, and I said this on Rolo's show the other day. According to 1 Corinthians 7, here we go, Bible study time.
Oh man, Odin.
If a man and women, when they get married, right, their bodies are not theirs. So the husband, body belongs to her body belongs to him, and they're not supposed to deny each other unless it's for an agreed amount of time. They're supposed to commit to fasting and praying. So what does that mean? If your wife ain't giving up the ass, it's called sexual immorality, and you could divorce her ass for that shit.
Interesting.
Learn something new every day.
Now you know why you got an oath ring, brother.
No, but it's like think about it like this. It's like I'm not thinking like, oh, the first time she tells you no, then you could divorce
Fucking
her.
it's over. I'm out.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
Right.
like there has to be like, okay, maybe you have to figure out what the reason is. Maybe
Yeah.
you're failing to do something, right?
Okay.
Maybe she has a physical ailment. Maybe whatever the issue may be, you got to figure that out. So you don't just walk in there like, all right, here you go. Here's the divorce paper. We're done.
No, you have to have compassion and patience.
Yeah. But like if you're going like 5 years,
Oh no.
that-
If you're going more than
like
there's no reason you're going more than a
You go-
couple weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
goddamn.
like you gotta seriously think. Well, cause I'm
Watching
figuring,
me
like,
move someone else
counseling and
in,
shit,
man.
you know, you gotta like not 5 years, but any long period of time.
So let's be serious though. If she has not entered menopause yet, and if she's on hormone replacement, she won't. Mm-hmm. And she is not interested in sex, you have a problem, because
I
she is
give
a
you
human
30
being.
days. You got 30 days.
She is a human being, and she has these drives. They're intrinsic, and this is a big problem. There's either a mental issue going on, with mental health, or there is another guy that's hitting the emotional buttons that makes her feel sexual, whether she's having sex or not. And that means you have to get back on your burden of performance, straight up.
Yep.
And you could see this within weeks, so you can get out and after it fast.
I told my girl like one time, I was like, look, if we don't have sex within 30 days, this is when we were first dating, me and Coco. I was like, look,
I don't see that being a problem, Coco.
never a fucking problem.
Even if she had 2 broken legs, I don't see it
Like
being a problem.
it's not. The girl could be in a body cast and she'll still find a way. But it's
Yeah,
like,
she'll say, cut a hole here.
exactly.
Dremel.
Did I tell you about the time we hooked up in the hospital in the ER room one night? Oh, crazy story. She had to get a spinal tap because her back was
You guys-
hurting. And we
Coco
fucked
been
it.
talking to Missy?
We fucked in the ER in the bed, waiting for the doctor to come in.
Now, we got to have a little bit of discretion here. You know? We
No,
gotta-
not at BBC.
We're here for it. We're here for it.
Well, real quick.
But discretion is really important in a
Yeah.
long-term
Oh, yeah,
relationship,
yeah,
too.
yeah.
She needs to feel, look, she can be your slut, and she should be.
Yeah.
And you should be doing all the things that Sterling talks about with escalation, dirty talk. Brilliant stuff. The man's brilliant.
Yeah.
You should be doing all of those things. And the one thing you should not be doing is broadcasting it publicly about you.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the thing. She has to feel classy, and she has to have that plausible deniability socially so that she can be a classy, high-class woman who is your woman.
It goes back to
Guys
the whole
make
saying,
the mistake.
classy in the streets, freaking the sheets.
Yep. And you need to give that to her with some compassion and with some patience for her to be conditioned and to mirror what you want.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on the whole? Say the man isn't getting it, relationship's going a little rocky, and the man just steps out.
Well, it's pretty simple. I mean, you should be having these conversations before you ever marry. But let's say you haven't, then you need to start
Wait a minute,
mentoring
like, he
with
just
somebody who
steps
can
out?
get it there.
Like, he just
steps out for the sexual need and comes back. He's not trying to pick up another woman, pick up more bills, pick up another family.
but like,
Yeah.
does he address her with the issue?
He runs it by her, and she's kind of on some
Well, I would
like
say he would need to say it like this. Look, at one point before you do that, if you made a commitment not to do that and then
Yeah.
sex is not a part of it, here's the thing. That's a violation. We made this commitment, so you have the first right of refusal.
Yep.
So
Okay.
there's your first right. You refused. Guess why?
okay.
I am
I
in
think
within my right to step out. No problem. I don't need to tell you. It's just what it is. You know, you refused.
I think most women like they shrug it off because most guys nowadays don't have enough value for themselves, and the women is yeah, right, I'm the best you can get. Like
Well,
Most
because they
guys
believe
cannot
that shit.
step out.
Because they put him on the pedestal.
yeah.
It's like they put that pussy so way up there above them that they just think that, you know, they're a servant to them.
Most guys don't have the option to step
Yeah,
out.
most guys have to.
can't.
And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
And that
But-
reinforces her power.
Well, because guys are so, once she starts refusing or she starts playing like she's not interested, guys are so worried about chasing her to try to get her interested. Like, instead of like,
Yeah.
instead of doing this, like, okay, you know what? You're not putting out? I'm going to the gym. And then just every time, just go to the gym. Even if you're not going to the gym,
Yep.
take the rational mail. Go in the parking lot of the gym and read the rational mail. Does she need to know where you're at? No. It's the thought that you're gone
Yeah.
and she's not knowing where you're at.
That's what I was gonna say right
That's
now.
the dread.
What do you
And
guys?
she's
what do you
knowing
guys-
it's because of sex, so
I would
she's
even-
going to be even more
I would even
paranoid.
tell the guys, go down the bowling alley where all the big, dumpster rhinos are, and just strike up a conversation. At least
Okay,
you're
so
being,
let me
at least
just
you're
say
being
this.
social.
Full disclosure, Thor doesn't have a no limit.
Thor's
So-
a savage.
Like, so
Remember-
she could be fat, one-legged, one nostril, a half a ear, and blind,
You know what?
and he would still dick her down.
All you guys don't understand the sexual market value rating. It's 1 to 10, but here is the savage math that actually works. It's mathematical, Glenn.
Are you gonna say
you
you're gonna
guys
take
realize
10 ones?
No. Okay, 10 ones can work. But typically,
the-
2 fours is an 8. 2 fours at the same time is an 8. Sorry, guys, it just is. That's how it works out.
See, they said at the same time. That's different.
2 fours at the same time
Yeah.
is an 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
The math works.
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean,
Yeah, but I
together.
couldn't walk outside with those 2 fours either.
No.
Nobody said you had to be in public. Glenn.
Hey, you know what? The fact that somebody's gonna see something.
You got lights, man.
I'm gonna see something.
You
Why
gotta
we
be a savage.
call them after 10.
You know, you are a dragon. You're going to have to slay one every once
Look,
in a while.
look,
Make
man!
sure it's very
the
dark
most
outside.
shallowest dragon there is.
Dude. I got you a harpoon, a flensing knife, and some rope.
Yeah, that's
You're gonna have
those are just for
There is-
aesthetics. Those are just for
there is a rite of passage you're going to have to perform.
He's a nope.
So how do you guys feel about like always like men must maintain pretty much how you got her is how you keep her, like keep those looks up, show your woman social proof that you can actually still attract other women. Does that help or does that actually hurt your relationship?
that solves 95% of the problems
Yes, it
when
does.
it comes with your woman. If you stay the man that like and level up, not even just stay there. You shouldn't stay the guy that she married. You should be leveling the fuck up the whole time.
I always tell guys
And if
being
you're-
complacent is the worst.
Exactly. So if you're not leveling up and you're not maintaining that sex appeal, that you're still not the if you stay the guy that other girls want to fuck and other guys want to be, it's gonna be easier.
Yeah.
Much easier.
Because she'll know in her head that they
It's
can go.
because every time she's gonna see the social proof. She's gonna see the waitress flirting with you. She's gonna see her girlfriends, giggling and talking about you. Like she's gonna see the way her friends look at you, and like maybe saying some, comment like, "Girl, that was my man." Like some shit like that. That's all social proof. That's all keeping her in reminder that, damn, I got a good one.
Yeah. I got to stay on my shit.
Yeah. Cause then she's gonna look like, if I fall off, one of these damn bitches called my friends are gonna try to hop on that dick.
Well, there's something really interesting about female nature too. I mean, honestly, the gals actually get turned on by a masculine man that's capable and ready to have other women attracted to him. I can tell you that right now. And here's the kicker. You know, this is the wife. You can rate her on a scale of 1 to 10. That was right before Axe did. Okay. She was 54 years old at that time. Can you believe it? Okay. But here's the thing. For that female competition anxiety to work, the women around you don't have to be the same sexual value as her. It's just any woman that's interested in you. So any woman that's going to show an interest, and here's the thing about that interest, it doesn't have to be obvious or flirtatious. Women do things with their eyes and with their heads and
gestures.
Yes. Or they just do this. Oh, yeah. And they'll do that right there. The other women
wasn't
pick up
my
on
leg.
that. Oh. They'll say, oh, she did that because she wants your dick. And it's
Like, I know she touched it.
Right. Well, maybe yours. But anyway, so let's say she touched like right here at the ankle. That would have been mine. That would have been mine. But yeah, it takes one to know one.
Exactly.
Sold
And
yourself
we know
short
them
on
all.
that.
But they pick up on it where we would not generally.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's really good. You don't have to be completely obvious about this, but you must maintain that level of social interaction too, where you can laugh and joke, you can have fun, you can interact and get a woman to speak about passionate things right in front of your woman or away from your woman. And it doesn't appear like obvious flirtation, but she gets the sense that that woman is interested in you just slightly more sexually than she should be of any SMV. And the woman will, if she is secure with your relationship and happy to have you, she will actually get very turned on sexually, very turned on. And as you continue to do this, you will find that she gets turned on more and more and more by more women that are attracted to you. She will even get turned on when women are openly flirting with you after a period of time. It strikes something in her that says, this is pre-selection. I have something everybody else wants, and that's mine. I can kind of control that access a little bit for you gals out there, and they get off on it. They get off on it big time. And that's rare. It's rare for guys to be able to do that. Those guys have unlimited selection, essentially. But what I'm telling you and all the guys out there that are in the relationship, you have to stay fit. You have to stay social. You have to kind of be on top of your game yourself. You have to be your own mental point of origin. When you do all of those things, the woman is really excited to be with you. And when she is, she'll get turned on by that. But as soon as you quit and you isolate yourself and no women are even conversing with you, the clock starts ticking. And you could see it even when it's not women. A guy gets his leg broken or something and he can no longer work. And he's no longer interacting with people. He's got about 18 months, and she will shit can him out for a model that can work. This is the hard fact that blends right in with our evolutionary history. Let's say, JP, you were the hunter. You and I went hunting. You had a woman, I had a woman. Okay? We loved our women. They loved us. They had the children. But it was hard life. We were hunting. We were hunting boar. Unfortunately, you got gored. Damn it. I know, it was right in the ass. But now you're laid up and you get an infection and you're lame and you can't hunt.
You can't sit down either. You're
laying on my side and shit.
You got like just about enough time to heal up for her to sit there and carry you. And if it don't get past that and say you're lame and you can't hunt now, she can't eat. She's got to go to the next guy.
And you know what I'm going to offer her? Sausage. Italian.
and instead of having that wild boar, old Glenn here's got some pre-cooked sausage for her.
Once
and
this
she's
heals,
going for
I'm
it.
murdering somebody.
but it makes sense from her perspective because she has to survive and move the offspring forward. And unfortunately for the guy, he can't fulfill his burden of performance. Now, if he was lucky and he was a tribe, he might be given some of the woman's duties, but he won't be attractive.
To the
And
women.
he won't be, that won't be the priority for him any longer or the women that are there, sadly.
Okay. But to say rewind it up a little bit, like
Rewind.
how can the man that doesn't have the woman yet is how can he reach those marks to where he's able to, I guess you could say, have that abundance mindset and have multiple women. How what steps can he take? What's 5? Give us 5.
Ooh, to get multiple women? Okay.
It's hard for an average man to get one woman.
You have to.
Does he just have one?
Does he already have one?
He doesn't have one at all.
He doesn't have any.
Okay.
So
Let's go with just one.
so how can he get to that level to gain one and still have that sex appeal to other women?
Okay, first, level up. Money, muscle, game, frame. Work on those 4. Pursue those 4. In the pursuing of those 4, while you're developing them.
Shout out MLD.
Yes, MLD merch. You know, like while you're working on those, you're gonna get interactions with women. You're gonna find women that are gonna be wanting to be with you. You know, they're gonna, as you're leveling up, they're gonna be drawn to you, and then you're gonna get dimes like this. Okay.
Oh yeah, I know.
There's some nice titties too. But like, you know, that's what it takes though. It takes you not necessarily focusing on the girls or pursuing them so much and focusing on those 4 core principles, right? Money, muscles, game, frame. Money builds success, right? So the money also shows status of success. Okay. The frame, you're working on your worldview, who you're going to allow in your life, what you're going to put up with, what you're not going to put up with, working on your inner game stuff, working on your problems and your traumas, right? And dealing with that stuff, okay? And then the game, when it comes to, basically that's social skills, getting involved in other communities, interacting with people, you know, working on just, it's not even on a sexual standpoint. Like, I was just listening to MOA before I even got here. That's Mike Sartain's, you know, group, Men of Action. And they're talking about, you know, the networking that they do. And it's like, just even that aspect that they do has little to do with pickup. It has more to do with the networking.
Because the networking, because it puts you in the statuses where you don't belong.
Exactly.
So you become like a man that you're in a whole different section where you wouldn't have been if
seen
you were
with
next to
people.
people. Seeing with people.
Shout out to Mike Sartain.
Yep.
For sure.
And the whole MOA group.
Yep. Absolutely. He's definitely doing on the path. I'll just go a little bit deeper. I don't know where this man is that has to get a gal. But, you know, women have their checklist of the 6, you know, all those things. I have a 7 checklist that I like to call the Superior 7, and it's really for guys, though, and it's not a checklist for the women. These are things you want to incorporate above and beyond the core 4, and that's physicality, psychology, presence, problem solving, prosperity, power, and passion. The reason that problem solving is in there is you realize that the female's sole agency in life is her sexuality. Yeah. What is a man's sole agency? It's his problem solving skill.
Yeah. Leadership, basically.
It's problem solving. Yeah. I mean, think about it. You got to solve a problem to feed yourself. Yeah. You got to solve a problem to gain the sex. All of those things. Yeah. So working on, and here's the thing: you only need 3 out of that list I just listed, which was physicality, psychology, presence, problem solving, prosperity, power, and passion. If you have any 3 of those and you level up above average, you're attractive. You're straight out of the gate.
Okay.
This goes much deeper. Yeah. So imagine this, though.
Is it the 7 Ps?
Yeah, it's the 7. Yeah. So imagine that you have the physicality, you have the problem-solving skills, and you have passion. That's really all a girl needs.
Yeah, that is true, because she'll see that you're assertive and everything else.
Yep.
So,
Let's put it this way: you have the psychology, you have the power, and you have the presence. That's enough too.
That's enough to get laid.
Any 3 out of that 7 if you level up.
Presence like the guy that every girl wants to fuck and the guy that every guy wants to be.
Let me describe it in reverse. The girls will all tell you he vibes.
Okay.
He's a vibe.
Okay.
And there's something to this, actually. Goddamn. Because it wraps up. It
reminds
wraps up in this.
I define song.
I define it as a dominant masculine presence.
Okay.
You guys understand command presence? You guys have been around cops, right?
Oh yeah.
No, never.
Authorities?
Unfortunately.
He's a former corrections officer, so he understands. There's something called a command presence. It's that presence of authority that you understand implicitly comes with a certain level of potential force,
Comes with
or
the
potential power,
Yes.
or
Okay.
potential authority,
Yeah.
or potential knowledge. And so I use that term, a dominant masculine presence, not to create this domineering cop-like figure, but to describe a presence is a projection of my frame around the outside world that I use to bend reality to my will. And when I do that, I can do that with my pacing, my voice. I can do it with my body language. And just by doing things like that and getting people, a little bit of consideration, I can gain so much, and it extends beyond me.
Yeah.
You ever walk into a room where a guy has that?
Yeah,
You know
I
that the
get-
big animal just came in.
Yeah, for sure. You can tell.
Right?
like it's like all
Everybody
of a sudden the
turns.
whole mood shifts, and they're like,
And he's not really doing anything, but you know that the big animal's here now.
Yeah.
That is a dominant masculine presence. And here's the thing. You don't have to be alpha to do it. You don't have to be beta to do it. I can list examples of every single one of these socio-sexual hierarchies that can acquire a dominant masculine presence over time.
except
It's
the
also
Sigma, right?
random.
The Sigma.
Well, that's just
Us
that's just,
Sigmas over here,
that's dude bro crap.
we're the
right?
lone wolf pack, lone wolf pack of one.
Get a crystal, Christian. But it's when you have that. Here's the thing. When I come back, you have the girls in here.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll ask them the question about it.
Oh,
They
man, it's
all
gonna be
freaking know it.
fun.
They know it when they see it. Right now. Oh, my uncle. Remember Jen when we were on there with him and I described her? She goes, my dad was just like that.
Yep.
Exactly like you say. They know what this is and they crave it. And it's so rare because anybody can get it. Anybody can work it and get it. It has to be a man. He has to be able to be confident in his masculinity and secure and be able to be, and he can practice these things. It's almost like faking it till you're making it, but it becomes your true, authentic self. Okay. I hate to use terms.
It
Repetition,
becomes
like
you.
this.
Yeah, you become it. It's an acting. It's like there's an acting
element
to it because it's
But
like
it becomes who you are.
So like Tom Cruise practices. I think I forgot the exact terms of it. I've worked on like several projects with the Scientologists, and those people are cool. They may be a little crazy, but they cool as fuck.
Yeah, a little crazy.
They cool. They pay me well. Keep on paying me.
They're rich as shit.
Yeah. And like I was talking to one of the directors, and one of the directors was telling me like Tom Cruise's like process. He literally becomes the character from everything, from mannerisms, like to the way that he talks. When he's on set, he wants to be called the name of the character. Yeah. Like he becomes it. So then it becomes so authentic because he is it.
Yeah.
Even for that short time. So you
learn a lot by that.
So when you're working on the DMP, you may be faking it till you make it, but in the process you're becoming it until it becomes you. Like it's not just it's not a character that you're playing anymore.
It's your actual self.
It is you.
And then there's another component to presence that's literally super easy. It's being right here. When you're talking, I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm not interrupting you.
Yeah.
I don't have a need like everybody seems to these days. No matter what you say, I'm going to say, yeah, and but. Oh, I agree, but.
Yeah, I know what you mean,
you're
but.
saying
The
is
one up,
this.
Yeah, but what you're saying is,
That's not listening to you. That's not being present. It's
I understand what you're saying, but
So there's that element of presence too, right? Does that help?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
A lot of people out there need to hear this.
So, where would you two say somebody who doesn't just have it yet? I would say that he's going to be anywhere between 18 and 25. He doesn't have that confidence yet, but he knows what he wants. He wants to try to get there. How can he build confidence?
All right,
outside of money.
okay, step one. Here you go. Step one. You go to becomedurable.com. All right. And once you get there, you go to becomedurable.com. You look for the course called Dominant Masculine Presence.
It would help.
All right. And then you pick up the book But first get the audio book because it's narrated by me. All right?
It's not out yet.
It's not out yet. But that's a good start because if you don't have the traits and you don't even know how to acquire them, you know, you want to find a good source that you could get this from. You know, and if it requires you to put out some money, then put out the money if you really want to get it.
Invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself.
Yeah.
THOR has a great course on it, Dominant Masculine Presence at becomedurable.com. Okay, and he has other courses too. But I'm saying that's a good place to start. If you don't know where to go and you don't have a mentor that you could actually talk to every day.
That's what I'm out there putting up for. Is like with these guys where they just can't find it. You know, there's so many different messages going through like Red Pill and just going through
whatever
like
they do. Yeah. Don't go to John Anthony Lifestyle. You end up fucking trannies.
So I just thank you. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I'm just saying.
They're actually lecture series about 1 to 2.5 hours long. They're lectures that I do, and I've been doing for quite a while. There's 7 of them actually, and the first 2 are what the book is going to be based on, and it's creating a dominant masculine presence for yourself. And then the second part of it, it kind of works on the principle of outside in. You're going to work from the outside in. And then the second part of the lecture is a little bit longer, and it's from the inside out. And this is where most guys, you'll get confidence by working from the outside in first, because you're going to do specific things. The long and the short of that first part is you take action for everything, right, wrong, and different. There is no such thing as inaction is an action. No, it's not. It's delay. It's just a delay of the inevitable, which is death. You have to take the action straight up.
Okay.
One or the other. There is no stall. There is no wait. Once you do that, you're going to get into the next part. It's going to be hard, but it'll make it easier. And that is creating a dominant masculine presence. It is acquiring emotional durability. And that one really delves in that nobody's done, and it's from way back. And that's where we actually define what are feelings, what are emotions, and what are moods. Everybody interchanges these, and they don't understand. Yeah. Do you know what feelings are? By the definition of what they are?
The definition?
Sure. Well, let me explain. Let me explain just the difference of why it's important to emotional regulation is that you understand what you're feeling. Feelings happen in the body. They're generated by the body. I feel this.
Yeah.
I can think of things and get goosebumps. Those are feelings. Those feelings can be generated internally. They can be generated by my mind, my subconscious, or they can be generated externally. They last from seconds to minutes. Think about it.
Yeah.
Now, you couple those, if you understand anything about the triune brain, is the lizard brain, then the mammalian brain, then the neocortex, that's the thinking rational. So this is happening right there at the lizard brain. This is feelings. It's instant reaction, right? And then the next part that's added on to it is that emotional side of the brain. They start to couple. When you couple the feelings, they can be used to assist and generate these emotions. It's the second part of the brain. And so emotions are different than feelings, but we tend to pass these back and forth as if they're synonymous, and they're not. I actually defined a whole list of emotions that are at least the primary and secondary and tertiary emotions. And there's a reason I do this, because I try to get guys to tackle just 3, and that'll give them emotional durability. And think of it this way. What are moods? Moods are those feelings in the bodies. Well, let's go back to emotions. Emotions last from hours, like from minutes to hours, right? Yeah. They can last for, a few hours up to a day. But you combine those feelings with the emotions that you generate, and what do you result in? Moods that can last for days to weeks. Yeah. You get the difference? The mood is persisting. Yeah. Now, the mood, you start to add the subconscious from that rational, and the rational part of the brain, you're starting to add. It's additive on top of those emotions and those feelings, and then you get this mood. Well, here's the nice thing about it. For the most part, you can use that rational brain to change how your body feels. And you can change, if you do that, you have more control over your emotions too. Yeah. So you don't get overwhelmed. Now, that's just the basis. Now you have this understanding, and I take you through some exercises that you can do. And some of it comes from Stoicism, some of it doesn't. But you go through these exercises for the purposes of getting control of the 3 major hits that guys just really struggle with today. And that is anger, fear, and sadness. Yeah. And if you can gain emotional regulation and durability, you will have emotional durability. You can extend that to all of the other ones. Okay. But those are the 3 And that's your big task. And that's the second part of that lecture series. Now, the fourth part, we start talking about principles of success for long-term relationships. And then we go into dead bedroom for the other lecture after that, which is essentially a dread game and the whatnot. So those are kind of the whole crux of the what I call the Mastery of Oneself lecture series, which is available on becomedurable.com. And of course, I talk about this stuff all the time. And mostly, I do go into the other second part of your question, which was once a guy does acquire a girl, he wants the harem. I can talk about that, but only in generalities because a man must honor discretion. But I can do that behind the paywalls at Become Durable. And I've done so with my good buddy Sterling, who's brilliant at it.
Yeah, shout out to Sterling too.
Shout out.
You know, a lot. Him and I align completely on how that is done with a primary. It's mostly done with a primary. If you're looking for a gal and you're listening to the Red Pill, and some of my favorite guys will go out there, they don't have the experience, and they say, find a bi chick and let her pick up a chick.
Yeah.
She might as well be the fucking man, because you just abdicated all your manhood. In all reality, it's nice to think that, yeah, my girl gets me girls. Still got an issue with that, dude. If she can get you girls, she can get girls and guys. The highest form is that your girl gets turned on like hell from your ability to game hot chicks and get the girl.
If your girl gets girls, she's
just-
wearing the strap on.
She
And
just
you are getting picked.
she just has the right of first refusal.
Yeah.
If she don't like her, out the door.
True.
Yeah.
That's about all I can say on that.
Okay.
Makes sense. Because a lot of girls in those situations, they say, well, I approve, or I pick the girls and then bring them home.
I'm like, look, I picked
the queens-
you. Okay, so remember who picked who here? I do the picking. I picked you, and then I'm picking them.
You know, there's a beautiful example of it right now in Thailand. The king of Thailand is an alpha stud, if I can use the term alpha stud. The guy got all his traditional body tattoos within 2 months.
Damn.
All of them in the hand way. He's a jet fighter pilot. He's the king. His wife is gorgeous. He just officially, 3 years ago, put on his concubine. Now his concubine can have heirs too. So he has the queen and his official concubine, who is the head nurse of all of their military. Absolutely hot as hell. She crawls on her knees before the king and the queen. And this is videotaped. You guys can all look this up. King of Thailand accepts concubine officially. Crawls on her hands and knees. The queen anoints her. And they accept her. The queen regulates the concubines. And so very few men can actually do that. But there's lessons to be learned there. I'm just briefly going on. But if you guys want to have fun with Google, look up the King of Thailand.
That's the advanced version.
That is the
That's that
advanced
royalty dick.
but there's lessons to be learned with how it's done in a context of discipline and honesty. And she has rights within it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so if you can go that way, if that's what you want, that's good. That's not the only way. But I think that's probably the honorable way.
But let's face it, like, guys, I know everybody wants to have 4 or 5 baddies, right? But you can't even take care of one.
Exactly.
You can't. Let's just focus
it.
on the one.
Yep.
You're like, just get the one and make that work. And if you are that guy that can go up, it's not going to be that difficult for you. Okay, but focus on getting the one. You have none. Get one.
Yeah.
Don't think about 5. Think about 1.
You know, Glenn, all those gals are going to say they're ride or die, and not a single one is.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, real quick to connect it with the confidence. Like once the guy actually reaches there and he just wants to get that one, and they don't want to be the top dog. They don't want to be the man that's like at the top of the food chain and be present. Like why do they get scared of being successful? Like what scares them away of trying to be the top guy and they just want to just get in the room instead of being the top one in the room? Like why do
They're scared of failure.
Okay.
They're scared of falling on their face in front of
Rejection
people.
again. Yeah.
They don't
Taking
want to
chances.
look like a failure in front of their
We
peers.
all have a component of that.
Yeah.
All of us.
To some degree.
Yep.
But like
Like it's just all connected to like why do men get complacent? Like just stagnant and
so
just stay,
like once
like,
they get the girl?
Yeah, like once they just get the girl and
because they
then
think they won the prize.
Yeah,
They got
they thought the game was over.
They've been taught
Yeah.
that.
They
too.
thought like,
They've been
I
taught
got to the I do's, got to the chapel, I said my thing, game over.
Yeah.
I'm done. No.
So you think society taught them that, or you think it's like their families
Well,
taught them that?
it's
Both.
society and because we're taught like, once you get married, to death do you part. Meaning, look, nothing in the world is going to ever separate us because that's how it's supposed to be. Like the Bible says, like what God joins together, let no man separate. So that means technically, once you guys get married, that's it. That's supposed to be it, in the sense of you having to look for a mate, right? So that's supposed to be a done deal, but that's not it. I mean, unfortunately, because people fuck up. Yeah. So when that happens, they have this like blanket of security that they think that like, oh, we're married now. There's so much more invested now, but they think it's an equal investment on both parties, and it's not. You are invested. She's not, because she's always has that possibility of dipping out, because if the marriage ends, she doesn't have to pay what you have to pay. Okay. So that's why you're more invested in the marriage than she will ever be, in the sense of
because you have more to lose.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get down to the actual simple language of why. It's because men love idealistically, so it's rooted more than just socially. Because men do love idealistically, which is different than women, is they idealize the fact that they have what Glenn just said. And because of that, they think that the woman loves them exactly the same reason. Till death do us apart. Doesn't matter if you pull the pin on the fat grenade. Doesn't matter if I drink the beer, because that's idealism. And that is man's natural state for love. But what he doesn't realize is that while men are all in love, women are in business. So it ain't going to work out. Yeah. They love opportunistically. And there's a fundamental misunderstanding with how men and women love each other and perceive love. And it's the value exchange between the two. If it's an idealistic love, that value exchange is based on an ideal. And that ideal, with what Glenn just said, is kind of a fantasy. And men like to believe it. Men are the romantics. We really are.
I mean, think about it. Who writes all the best romantic movies?
Yeah, true. Men do.
Okay. Who writes all the best love songs?
Old school R&B.
Who are they? All dudes.
Yeah, all dudes.
Who's the real romantic?
Who sings the worst? Who sings the best blues too?
The men.
Love idealistically.
I mean,
that's a component of it for sure. And it's easy to get complacent because, dude, when you're getting poon on the regular, you got a high level of prolactin. You're nice and comfy. And when things are comfy, you don't want to think that they're going to change. I like it. Hell, I faced it in a similar circumstance in my life. I had one of the best jobs a man could ever have. Dangerous. I got all kinds of kudos. I made more money than anybody else, but it also put me in a spot where I was comfortable, could get anything I want, just about anything I wanted, as long as I kept doing this job. And so for many years, at least the first 15 years, as a journeyman power lineman, I did not strive to do anything else. That wasn't the best circumstance. A man needs to stay hungry.
Yeah.
And it really took some circumstances in my personal life to bring that foremost back into my head. And I know a lot of guys that move along in careers like that are geniuses, but they're just comfortable enough. It's okay. And I think this happens in marriages because I see it all the time. And then they get that level of comfort, and then eventually the sex starts to wane because the novelty is gone. And women need novelty too, guys. Yep. Not so much variety, because if you're that guy, you're good enough. They need some novelty. They need the inner brain stroked with that sexy language. They need it. It needs to just change slightly here and there to keep them interested. And guys just don't get it, It's so different for them. Women ramp slow, men ramp fast. Yeah. So
every once in a while, just like sneak up behind her and just take it.
But they get complacent. But women do too. They do it in a different fashion, and they get complacent. When they get complacent, they might get overweight. But what happens with them is they start doing the girlfriend out stuff. They start being influenced by their gals, or the sex starts to wane. And believe it or not, there's always orbiters. Every girl you got's got an orbiter out there.
Yeah, like whatever girl you think he's a friend. Like all her friends from work, like hot girls don't have friends.
Hell no.
Cole's my friend.
No, you're my friend. Okay,
That's true.
that's how it goes. But like hot girls don't have friends.
Yeah.
No.
They have guys ready in the batter's box,
Waiting.
like, put me in the game, coach.
Exactly.
Like, I'm waiting for you to fail. Like, they're not even cheering you on. They're cheering for you to fail. Like, you
That's
know?
okay, yeah.
And some guys are happy, and that's their position to play the.
And they love
friend
playing
zone.
that position.
Yeah.
Some guys are content playing that position because you know what? They may not get the sexual element out of it, but they get her leaning on them, crying to him. He becomes a dependent
on the emotional.
on the emotional things that she needs, and that's where he'll be fine with it. Okay. Now, some guys, they just play that position like, look, I'm just gonna sit here for a minute and play this game.
She gonna
but
get
I'm-
unhappy one time.
She won't cry. I'm just gonna got her head. Nice, now just put her right here, girl. Just
So what do you
Shout
guys
out to
think
Chino
about
on
men
that.
and women being friends?
I don't think it's. I mean,
What do you
yeah, I don't think it works because the guy, like he said, is
To me,
he's waiting to smash.
now I think if she's ugly, you can be an ugly girlfriend.
but that's what I was gonna say. Like, if
I know
it has to be
a
like
couple ugly
no,
girls.
Yeah, you have
no
to be,
attraction
like, no
whatsoever,
attraction whatsoever.
or it has to be a business transaction. Like, other than that, like,
I don't even think you
I
can
don't
do hot
see-
business transactions. I think if a girl's really hot and you're trying to do a business transaction, you're still trying to fuck.
Yeah,
At least in the back of your head, you are.
yeah.
So
You're like, ooh, sign this contract.
So I agree, but I think that in practical terms, it's different. I lean towards Sartain a little bit here because when you have lots of options, you can have friendly female acquaintances.
That's the saying that you have to have the option.
They're-
That's why I said a
they're
business
not-
transaction for
they're
me
not
would just
a
be
friend
like,
like Glenn and I would be friends.
Yeah.
They're not like that.
Yeah.
But they're a friendly female acquaintance, and there will always be sexual tension. And even though you say that they might be ugly, it doesn't really matter about your intent.
Yes,
As a
yes.
man, you're always going to bang.
No,
And when you're thirsty enough, you'll bang anything. But there may be sexual intent on her side. So a friendly female acquaintance, that's fine. I think you should have them. I really do.
Yeah.
Even when you're in relationships with other women. It will appear as though it's a friendship. And when you're questioned socially, you can say that you are. It's not worth the fight
Yeah.
to do it. If we're going to talk semantics here and how it actually works, they will never be like your guy friends.
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
okay
Yeah, sure.
because you'll never be like her girlfriends, although many men try to fit into that mold and then their butt hurt when they don't get their shot.
Well,
That's
it's
an
like-
unconscionable contract.
It's like yes, I could be friendly. I mean, I know many beautiful women that I'm friends with. And I would never cross that line. But, you know, if I was single
you only live once, Glenn.
and if it was on the table, yeah,
Yeah, you would take
I'm
it.
going to take it.
It's a good table.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
We might break this thing. But I'm just saying,
go
like,
that way and rock this way.
but like every guy would be in that position. No guy would turn that down. Like, oh, you know, I value our friendship so
Yeah,
much that
yeah.
I don't want to cross that line.
You know, the neocons say they wouldn't cross that line. They lie.
So how do you feel about the girls that say, "Oh, I have a male best friend"?
I'd be like, no, you have a male friend that wants to fuck you.
Yeah,
He's just waiting for his turn. And you know, guys, we could live with that. We know that. We know it's true.
She has a girlfriend that has a hard dick. That's
But
all.
exactly,
Yeah.
she sees a friend. Really, it's a tranny because she sees him as a girl, but she will never bang him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
But she might if he's on roster and she loses the main guy and she's desperate, especially after
a
they hit
pity
the wall.
fuck, like a pity fuck.
Once they hit the wall,
Okay, yeah,
It
yeah.
does, it does happen.
Occasionally,
Yeah.
I mean, if the guy's persistent enough, remember,
that's the thing.
if he's young,
he's gonna become like
Friends
is
on West.
that the Ross? Is
Now
that the
we're-
Ross from Friends?
well, it's not necessarily an exception either. It does happen. It's like, yeah, here she is. She's hot. She's finding herself, shall we say? I'm finding myself.
Finding herself into a
so
bedroom.
he hasn't hit his prime yet.
okay.
Who's in line when that's been the friend now that he is 35, but he hasn't. He's hitting his prime, but he hasn't developed options. That exists in a lot of places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it too.
And girls capitalize on it. This is why I say that serial monogamy works well for women. And it is a shithole for men. And
Like I said, I think,
this happens more than you think, and that's why we end up with the situation. Now, the girls that don't capitalize and don't have that guy, you see him on TikTok between 35 and 50 right now, wondering where all the good men are because they lost their orbiter.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very true.
You know what's funny? I saw this thing like girls are saying like, we should just start going after younger men. I'm like, they don't want to fuck you.
They will.
No,
They will,
yeah,
but they don't really
white
want
on
to
white.
like they want to
They don't
like
want that.
no, they want to like commit with them. Like
Oh, you mean the women want
the
to?
women. I'm talking about the women.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I was like,
because like you said, like if they lost their orbiter, then it's just like
it's like,
it is what it
nah,
is.
you're
There's
not,
guys that'll do it all day long.
I was like, ladies, you need to look up. look up in age if you're looking for somebody.
But
to
that's when they
commit.
lower their stamp. They don't have that many options, so they got to go where they got to go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
Settle
what
for whatever they
happens.
can
Why
get.
do you think you can look at I mean, there's plenty of people doing it online right now, especially on YouTube, where they're looking at older women's profiles on the dating apps.
All the time.
What do they say? No hookups.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And they are
Here's the
all.
thing.
If they say no hookups, what are they for? Whore?
I'm here for a serious relationship.
Not a dating app.
But what they don't, there's plenty of young guys that'll bang them.
Yeah. All
But
day.
they want, they're delusional in the fact that they ran out of options and they don't realize it yet.
Yeah.
So how do
And
you,
so their only options is those short-term engagements right now, unless they're willing to accept an average guy that has a little bit of potential. See, when a woman hits the wall, she's out of time. She really doesn't look at potential anymore. Whereas if you get a young woman that's not in her her party phase, she'll bank on potential. You may not even see it, but she'll bank on potential. We see that all the time, don't we? But once she hits the wall, she's out of time. She can't really afford to bank on potential at that point.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's an unless she's desperate and she has a lot of kids. You'll see single moms bank on almost no potential because, she's got kids and she's kind of in that habit and she'll
And
take
miss the whole
any-
family thing, so she wants to try to pick up with the time she got left.
That happens all the time too.
Stella got her groove back.
Yeah.
And a lot of girls, they won't say it, but they bank on it. And that's why you see those single moms out there putting that shit up.
Especially if they have their kid young, and then when they grow up and they're out of the house,
Yeah.
And
party
they
phase.
want that plausible deniability. Remember we talked about discretion?
I
This
didn't
is
get
the
to
other
live
side
that
of
life when I was
discretion.
younger. Now I get to.
To say, no hookups, I'm a good girl.
Yeah.
But it's
Why do good girls?
It's kind of it's public to
like
them,
bad guys.
so they want the discretion of it.
Yeah.
But the reality is that's not what it is. They can't say. They got to still keep it in their mind that they can't come out and say what they're really after and what they want. It is delusion because there's a lot of bias in there. And well, think of it this way. I mean, can you imagine being raised as a trust fund kid and having all the money and all the stuff all the time, and
You're not going to value shit.
and then it disappears. You're kind of upset about it.
Yeah.
You could see that, and it's a great parallel. And none of those guys ever able to secure those options and resources again to any way,
No,
shape, or form. And most of them end up
They ain't been
miserable
through
or
shit, so they don't know what to do.
miserable. And yeah, exactly.
Very true.
It's very sad. I mean, they have so many great men in history, great leaders, like the greatest of Roman emperors, Marcus Aurelius, right? Here he is, raised in hardship and adversity, becomes this stoic leader, not by any choice. This was his personal diary, right? And he is bringing the empire to heights it's never seen before.
Yeah.
He lost 7 or 6 of his 7 children, had a crazy son that had lived in the lap of luxury. And, he thought, well, he'll just replace me. I didn't want him to, but the other son died. And if you look throughout history, all these great leaders that came through adversity and strife and became great and helped people, none of their sons were ever any good. They were horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Very true.
And what is the commonality? They didn't have the rites of passage. They didn't go through any hardships.
Everything was handed to
They
them.
didn't struggle. Back to the original problem we talked about, single moms cannot offer a struggle to the child, a male child.
Yeah.
Very true.
Can't happen. And female children, we don't make them struggle.
Yeah.
They cry. And that's no good, They have intrinsic value.
Yeah.
We don't have value unless we complete that
Yeah, we're gonna have
struggle
to beat it.
and
Until
become
you make,
valuable.
you have to make your value.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of that, the values, my last question is going to be, how can the man know that he's reached that value? Like, where does he get that validation from? Society tells him that he's made it? The women around him tell him
What
that
do you
he's
It's
made
a
it?
combination.
What do you mean
The
exactly?
validation of the value, how do you know you?
How does he know that he's made it? He's went through all the schooling, the hardship, the struggle, living on his own, not making it, then making a man out of himself, whatever small career, whatever that he does have. Then he picks up on one woman. How does he know that he's reached it? Like, does society let him know and validate him, or his family, or is it his peers?
It's
Like,
gonna be a combination of internal validation, okay? Because here's the thing, you're never going to actually ever get to the point where you actually reach it 100%. Because as soon as you get to this level, you're going to want to get to the next level. Yeah. You're going to want to get to the next level. So you're always going to be chasing it if you're really pursuing this value, right?
Especially if you're around people that are above a higher level than you.
But it's going to be internal validation because you're going to know what you have gone through to get to where you're at.
Don't you think there's a lot of guys that like think that they are some shit that they're not though?
Oh, absolutely. Just like all those heifers that think they're dimes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I deserve a man that's
I'm a 10.
Yeah, I'm a 10. You're like, you negative 10.
So it's not so important that you know. It's like,
and it's almost better that you don't know.
It's very similar to,
because you'll stay hungry.
Yeah.
You can know that you walk through the door. At least the door, the entry. You can you walk through the entryway only into the arena.
How does they know? How does a man know that he's stepped foot in there?
Let's frame it like this: to know that you become a dominant masculine presence in your life and you're expressing it, is that other men who have dominant masculine presence accept you, and acknowledge you.
Yep.
Okay.
That's just the start, because it's an eternal struggle. And that just means that you've been let into the arena. Before then, you're just outside. And
you got in the club.
And here's the thing. You can't sit there and tell these other men that you are one.
Yeah, no.
I am one. Yeah. That's grandstanding and douchebaggery of junior high level.
Yeah.
And here's the thing with it. It's discovery always trumps disclosure.
Yep.
Find out about that person. And as it comes up, the level of respect and integrity that comes from a man like that is so immense, especially if it's kind of concealed. I call it, I don't really go with humility because it has certain people say be humble. I don't really go down that road.
Well, there's
but
a
I
false
will
humility
say,
you got to watch out for too.
I will say that you will develop a certain modesty about yourself because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You're living the dream. And whether others participate or not is really irrelevant. It's nice, but you will find those that are living the dream too. And those are the ones that will open the door and let you step into the arena. That's how you know.
Yeah, it's like really like.
I know it's a little bit esoteric, but I think that's the way you'll know.
Well, think about who acknowledges you. Like, do the men that you look up to not acknowledge you? You know, like, do they reference you?
But what does that speak on? Does that speak on if they don't acknowledge you? Are you hanging out with the right people, or are you?
That means you're just not there yet.
Okay.
You're not at that level yet. Like, you still got some work to do. You know, like if when your heroes become your peers, you know what I'm saying?
Well, and they change throughout your life as well.
Yeah, they do. But I'm just saying, like, when you hit that threshold, right? Because there was a time where I was just a consumer of this information, and then there was a time I kind of got into the podcasting game a little bit, right? But nobody knew me, right? Made a little bit of noise. Nobody knew me. But then I started connecting with certain groups of people, right? And then I earned that acknowledgement. And then you earn now you earn the acknowledgement of this group that you have looked up to. That means you have transcended to a level of like, you know, that you got in the room. You know, because there's a lot of guys out there. I'm just using that as an example. There's a lot of guys out there in the space that we won't even acknowledge, and they do a lot of talking and they do a lot of, you know, like, okay, David, something up.
Oh, well, I don't really consider him in the space, but
But
you know,
yeah,
I would talk to him, but it's.
But like, there's guys
pretty
like
apparent.
there's guys in this. There's guys like they're trying to be in this sphere, right? And just use it as an example. When they don't align and they have not measured up, or they're not verified, they haven't been able to be verified, you're not going to take them as credible.
Yeah.
Okay? And it's like when THOR taps me, Rule 0 looks at who's this Glenn guy. You know? Because credibility, he's earned that credibility. Yeah. He's opening the door, and then now... So you see what I'm saying? Like there's this leveling up, but it's leveling up by the people who you're around.
Yeah, your network.
Yeah, exactly. If you're in the wrong network, then your net worth is not there.
Yeah, that's true. You got to find that network, and your value will be expressed at some point. And if it's not, and you got to have enough of that self-validation to say, if it's not being expressed, are these mentors really worth my time? And that's another way you vet. It's another way. It's one of the reasons I say, don't listen to fucking THOR. Vet it for yourself. Find out if what I'm telling you is true and based on experience. It most likely will be if you apply it in your life. There's too much corollary evidence that states that it actually is. If you don't like it, okay, find another way. Yeah. I'm not standing in your way. I'm just saying, here's a door, walk through it if you dare.
Yeah.
And just so you know, full disclosure, me and THOR are not your role models. We do not want to be role models at all.
I am not a dating coach.
We are not dating coaches, and we're not your father.
But you can say my name. It's
So we can be your daddy.
You'll never forget my name.
All right.
Or you can use RP THOR. It's fine.
So lastly, can you guys brush up on where do you see Red Pill being for the future? Is it getting twisted? Is it going in the right direction?
Have you guys not watched my latest video? Oh, y'all gotta watch my FBI report.
We want you to express it to the world.
Okay, so this just in. The FBI has put that word that you said, say it again.
Red Pill?
Yes, on the terrorist watch list. We are now on a watch list, folks. So as whose name's Chad? Anybody named Chad here? If you're named Chad, you're on the watch list. Tyrone, we already knew you were there. Okay, so
it's actually domestic extremist groups.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's crazy. So no, they're trying to suppress it. They're trying to suppress it right now, especially around the election. And that, THOR, you mentioned that.
I did. I mentioned it a few months ago.
Prophesied that. No, he didn't prophesy, but he foretold that he saw this coming.
Actually talked with him about it.
Yeah. This is something that kind of comes around. The red pill. Here's the thing: the problem with the red pill, and there's gaining traction, it's gaining notice. Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, everybody, is drawing attention to it. And right now, it's the bad guy. We are the villain, and it's okay. We could play the villain because guess what? You're not going to be the hero in everybody's life. You're going to be the villain at some point. Yeah. So we're the villain, and where it's going to be, we're gonna be slowly growing, but there's going to need to be. We're going to see a lot of people falling off, especially after this, and it's going to get a little more tighter, don't you think?
Oh yeah, it's going to get way worse.
We're going to thin out the herd.
I did a video a few weeks or a month ago when I was in the car. It's one of my first car videos, and I had talked about this with some of the other guys, but it's pretty obvious to those of us that's been around. The red pill has a certain amount of truths. They're just truths, and they're attractive to anybody that can put two and two together. Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether you're on the left or you're the right. You might hate it or you might not. So it becomes very attractive to, especially the parts that align with the conservatives. And that becomes extremely attractive to them, which by nature makes us an enemy of the left. But it's just not the right conservatives that adopt some of these red pill. They want to mold it to their liking. But the problem with it is
they want to moralize it.
Yes, and they want it to only fit. They want to pick and choose the elements, and that's not what it is. Yeah. And they hate other sections. In fact, they hate us in some ways more viciously than the left does.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. And since we're entering into an election cycle, they want to leverage the newfound popularity amongst young men and voting peoples to their advantage. So we will become hated. And the video that I did entitled "Get Ready, Red Pill for the Dog Pile." Mm-hmm. The dog pile is coming. And here's the thing. Watch all the new grifters flee or join the dog pile from within.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed going to happen. I think I saw the last two. Rolo saw the last three. Mm-hmm. And pretty much happens on these 4-year cycles or to some extent 2-year. It becomes popular. And then, for a while there, the PUAs were popular. Mm-hmm. And there were some elements in there that made it to mainstream. And then they became the most hated group of men on the planet. Yet they had in their possession data that 150 years of psychoanalytics could not have gathered.
And that
was valuable.
And that also, that data conflicted with what the church was teaching.
So you're going to see the conservatives jump on the dog pile that the liberals already did. They didn't like the masculinity side because that goes against femcentricity, which, I mean, I don't want to get too far into it, but it's Marxist-based. All of feminism is Marxist-based.
Yep.
It's about conformity, and it's about making everybody equal, but it's much more sinister than that if you really look into it.
It's not about equality.
And if you look into it even deeper, it's a melding of Marxism and Malthusianism. Do you guys know what Malthusianism is? Malthusian theory?
but not
I've heard it.
so.
I don't know the
It's very popular with
definition.
Hollywood. And what it is this guy, Robert Malthus, was he was a preacher in England, and his theory is that human beings were basically a plague upon the earth, and we were going to overpopulate and run out of resources. 16 of the predictions made that would occur never happened, but we had to take action. So based on his theory, the action was sterilization, genocide, cleansing of the planet. We were the virus. And you've heard those terms before. You can't have lived in the Western world without hearing that humans are the virus. Oh, and by the way, what does the virus cause? Causes climate change, which is a Marxist movement too.
Yeah.
So I think that the result of feminism and all this, and even the femcentricity that's going on in the church, is rooted in Marxism, coupled with Malthusian theory, which is strange because they were kind of opposed. They weren't opposed to the end result, just how they got there. And the long and the short of Malthusian theory is we have to reduce the population. Well, look what happened. What has happened? Without getting too far into the tinfoil hat territory, we have plummeting birth rates. We can't even replace ourselves. Men and women are at each other's throats, and we can't raise families. We can't even have sex anymore. What's going on with that? And then on top of that, your testosterone in the last 50 years has declined almost 50% now. It was 45%. It's on the way down. Why is that? What's going on? Sugar's been introduced everywhere. The rise of obesity is everywhere. 70% of us are overweight. That means 25 pounds or more overweight, with 45% of us being obese, which further declines our natural hormone state, including estrogens. Women need testosterone too to be healthy. And the decline of testosterone assails both men and women. So I know I went kind of on a rabbit hole, but I think it's important to understand that the red pill kind of reveals these truths, and certain political parties want to align with it, particularly when it comes to men and women, because each side has a stake in men and women getting along or fighting.
Yeah.
And we're going to be the enemy because we're an easy target, because you need an enemy if you want to get paid.
Yep.
Damn.
And it's gonna be simple. Here. I'll just break it down like this. Here, want to hear another red pill truth?
Sure.
Here we go. Here's red pill truth. Men kill people. Women kill societies.
Oh, yeah.
So the way that we're
historically, that seems to be the case.
and the way that we're going now, with all this, gender bending shit, you could be whatever you want.
Forcing it
But
down
didn't
your
you
throat.
tell me that men let that happen?
Yeah, but because they deferred the authority to the vagina, and now we're seeing our society
But
crumbling.
It's so warm and it's so nice when she touches my pee-pee.
Yeah, it's the death of a lot of things when it's the leader.
But I die happy, right?
I don't know. Ask some of those trannies.
All right. So, lastly, where could our subscribers find your brand, and what is it you're pushing this year for 2023?
You want to go first, man?
Now you go first.
All right. Well,
Age before beauty.
that would be wisdom. I'm RP Thor. You guys can find me on Instagram, rp.thor. And the RP doesn't necessarily stand for red pill. It can mean a couple of things. It can mean real perspicacious or real penultimate Thor. And if you don't know what those words are, look them up. So you can also find me there. I'm on Facebook under my real name. Just look up Thor Markinson. That's easy. I don't hide under any synonyms, so I don't have an issue. This isn't a big deal to me, even with the haters. And I got some fakers and haters. Believe it or not.
That's why you know you're doing good when you got it.
Yeah,
You don't have no haters, you ain't doing shit.
I got imitators and haters and all that sort of thing. And of course, you can find me on becomedurable.com. That's my website where I offer my lecture series on mastery of oneself. I also offer an consultation on how to become a power lineman if you want to choose that route. So very, very good.
Very, very good money.
I mean, guys, if you know what's happened with the power line industry, in a couple of years we're going to make better money than attorneys. Sorry, but that's the fact.
It is true.
And I also offer one-on-one consultations on everything from older man's fitness and nutrition, hormone balancing, and then what's really hit me lately is, believe it or not, is couples consultation. Older and older.
Look at you,
Older,
Dr. Phil.
Older, dude.
Are you replacing Dr. Phil?
You know my YouTube membership, the majority of my YouTube membership is middle-aged women. That
Really?
shocked the hell out of me.
Star started it.
Really?
Yeah, it shocked the hell out of me. I got.
You got to shout out to Star. Like, thank you,
anyways,
Star.
hey, thank you, ladies, and Star. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube at RP THOR and on Rule Zero. And of course, we have our brand channel, which is the Dragon Ship, which is our panel show where we chop it up. It's tongue in cheek. You know, we don't have a ton of listeners, but we have so much damn fun on silly topics and red pill stuff.
That's why we do the King's Table.
Yeah, right here.
So that's just the kind of the panel thing. And then occasionally I'll do a serious show, like a rite of passage with somebody, like I did John Fitch, and some others will come up. When I have the time, I do something like that. And then occasionally I broadcast on my own, and that's called The Thunder. Hopefully you'll see more of that. And then later this year, hopefully by the end of summer, I'll publish my first book I've been working on for a couple of years, which is creating a dominant masculine presence.
So,
All right, everybody else, look out for that.
Yeah. Well, that was a monologue.
Well, with you, it's always a dialogue. You're jumping in there.
Where you can find me on the FBI's most wanted list now because I'm kidding. I'm on the no-fly list. No, I'm kidding.
No, you're not.
You can find me on YouTube, Glenn Lawrence _presents. It was Glenn Lawrence Presents, but as you guys know, my last channel got taken down.
What happened, Glenn?
For some odd reason.
So just note to self, don't make fun of certain commentators on YouTube. Don't do it. They'll get
a
you.
strike or two.
Yeah. Well, they just take down your channel. So yeah.
Shut up, sit down.
Yeah. Check out the new channel. Getting there close to monetization again. You can find me on Instagram at Glenn _Lawrence Presents. I do consultations. I am an impact coach. Besides an actor and producer and all kinds of stuff, I do take clients. I help guys level up and help make positive impacts in their life. Help them figure out the results and how to get to the results that they want and desire. You can find me on the Dragon Ship on Saturdays, and occasionally I find my way sneaking into Rule Zero as well, right before the Dragon Ship. So, you know, and then as Rollo said, I might be on Access Vegas once or twice. So I'm good with that. So
hey, shout out to that.
so that's where you can find me. But yeah.
We'll be making a trip out there a few times, I imagine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A couple of those guys want us to come, so
yeah,
I'll be happy.
And for sure.
Definitely.
And
They're
I say
good-
shortly
they're good
here,
people.
if you guys allow, if we can get your time, we'll have you here on one of these ladies' shows after hours. That way we can
Man, just-
teach some stuff to these ladies and stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
Great.
Shout
Let's
out to
have some
Janelle.
Yeah, Janelle. And we'll try to make that happen with Janelle, too. I'll
I'm trying
reach
to
out
bring
to
her
her.
in
We'll
and
get
bring
that
you guys back.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
She's pretty up to snuff, man.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta tell you, I spent
no,
some
she's
time
cool.
with her in Miami.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, she's cool.
Yeah, she's super.
Her Jay Waller and Sterling, and
Okay.
spent some time with them, and
Nice.
good people.
I
man.
actually
Sterling's cool
tried to,
too.
I actually
Down
tried
to
to
earth.
get them
Actually
here
down to
at the
earth.
same
Trying to
time.
get the, yeah, we're
Oh,
trying to get
really?
them at the same time.
But like,
Yeah.
when Sterling was here, she was overseas. she was out there with her son. But yeah, no, but we'll make it happen though. Because I actually like offline, like I have her cell phone number.
Yeah.
I hit her up on her.
Yeah, if they ever get close, do that. I'll reach out to reaffirm for you
Okay,
guys
for
if
sure.
you want.
Cool.
Okay.
That'd be
Or
a good
you know
time.
what?
That'd be a good time.
We also try to get Jen to come out here. That'll be a hoop. To have Janelle and
she's
Jen.
she's a hoop, all right. You see the sides of those?
I'm saying because they're so conflicting. They're two different.
I don't know.
Like two different women. I think that'd be interesting.
Okay.
Good debate.
I'm just sitting here watching. Just eat some popcorn.
I'll sit over there.
I know what I'm saying.
I'm not sitting in between.
I'm just sitting here just eating some popcorn. You know.
All right. For sure. Everybody check out the channel. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Show everybody some love.
Yeah.
Yo,
Appreciate
salute.
it. BBC, we out.
We out.